Are you struggling on how to balance chemical equation? You are in the right place. In this video, I will show you simple step-by-step method on how to balance chemical equation like a pro. Just even if you are just starting out, just grab your pen, because in this video, the method used will help you in boosting your chemistry score instantly. Grab your pen, because this is the method that will boost your chemistry score instantly. So guys, let's dive into the video. The first thing to know is chemical equation. What is chemical equation? You need to ask yourself, what is chemical equation? You need to know that before you can balance any chemical equation. So what is chemical equation? I will explain to you guys now. Chemical equation is the representation of chemical reaction by using, who can guess what I want to put here? Chemical equation is the representation of chemical reaction by using what? Who can guess it? If you know it, drop it in the comment section. Chemical equation is the representation of chemical reaction by using formula and symbols. So that's chemical equation. Before you do anything in chemistry, or before you treat any question, you need to know the concept. What is chemical equation? Chemical equation is the representation of chemical reaction using what? By using symbol or formula. So we now know what chemical equation is. So guys, let's dive into the next one, which is balancing. We know chemical equation now. So the next thing is balancing. What is balancing? The topic is balancing chemical equation. We know what chemical equation stands for now. We know the meaning. So what's balancing? Balancing means to ensure that the number of atoms for each element in the chemical equation is balanced, is the same. When I mean balancing, it means ensuring that the same number, that the number used, the number of atoms for each element in the chemical reaction on both sides is balanced. And I will show you guys one example now. So look at this. So guys, is this balanced? No. How do you know that it is not balanced? You said no. How do you know that it is not balanced? We know by looking at the number of atoms of each element. And balancing means ensuring that the number of atoms of each element is balanced on both sides. If you see at the left hand side here, we have 2 hydrogen, we have 2 oxygen, and on the right hand side we have 2 hydrogen and we have 1 oxygen, which means it is unbalanced. It is what? Unbalanced. So I cannot balance this for you guys now. By continuing the video, I will balance this when we are doing the examples, because we need to know the steps to balance chemical equation before we can balance this. So now, with my explanation, you should be able to know what balancing means and what chemical equation means. Diving into the steps to balance chemical equation. Steps to balance chemical equation. So steps to balance chemical equation. The number one step is, I'll be listing 4 steps for you guys. So the number one step is write out the unbalanced equation. The unbalanced equation. That's the first step to balance chemical equation. Number one step is write out the unbalanced equation. That's what I did here. I write out the unbalanced equation because there is no how you can balance the equation that you cannot see. So guys, the next thing is list out the number of atoms of each element. As you can see, I followed these 2 steps here. When I write out this unbalanced equation here, you know what I did next? I explain the number of atoms of each element. I may not list it out, but I explain that we have 2 hydrogen here, we have 2 oxygen here, we have 2 hydrogen at the right hand side, and we have 1 oxygen at the right hand side. I explained that to you guys. So by doing that, it also means I list out the number of atoms of each element by doing that. So the third step is add coefficient to balance one element at a time. It says add coefficient to balance one element at a time. Since you have write out your unbalanced equation and you have list out the number of atoms of each element, the next thing is to add coefficient to balance one element at a time. How do we add coefficient to balance one element at a time? Look at this unbalanced equation here. So let me show you how to add coefficient to balance one element at a time. We have 2 hydrogen here, we have 2 oxygen here, we have 2 hydrogen here, we have 1 oxygen here. So we need to have 2 oxygen here in order for the equation to be balanced. So let me add coefficient to balance an element or one element at a time. Let me add 2 here. By adding 2 here, we now have 2 oxygen here, 2 oxygen here. But if you check, we have 2 hydrogen here, 4 hydrogen here. For the 2 hydrogen on both sides, it is still not balanced. But for the oxygen on both sides, it is balanced. Because I follow these steps, add coefficient to balance one element at a time. Not balancing 2 elements together. Balance one element at a time. So after balancing this oxygen, what should I do next? Add 2 here. By adding 2 here, I already balance hydrogen because we now have 4 hydrogen at the left hand side, 2 oxygen at the left hand side, and we now have 2 oxygen at the right hand side and 4 hydrogen at the right hand side. So by doing that, I already balanced the equation. And do you know why I did not get this wrong? Do you know why I get this right? Because I follow these steps. I add coefficient to balance one element at a time. You don't balance 2 elements at a time. If you do that, you will be confused. So I balance one element at a time. So the last but not the least is always balance H and O last if applicable. What do I mean by this? Always balance H and O. H means hydrogen and O means oxygen. Always balance hydrogen and oxygen last if applicable, because there are some elements that if you balance hydrogen and oxygen first, you will make a mistake. So that's why this is also part of the steps to balance chemical equation, that once you are solving once we are balancing chemical equation, you have to balance hydrogen and oxygen last and balance the other elements first. Balance the other element first. So we now know the steps to balance chemical equation. I've explained the definition of chemical equation. I've also explained the definition for balancing, and I have explained well the steps to balance chemical equation. By now, you should be able to balance chemical equation without any issue. So I'll be showing you some examples on how to balance chemical equation using what? Using these steps. Write these steps down. Find a note and write these steps down. It is very important. It will help you in balancing it. So guys, let's dive into the question. So guys, as you can see on the board, these are the equations we want to balance using the steps of how to balance chemical equation. As you can see for question 1, we've write out the unbalanced equation. Now, the next thing is to list out the number of atoms of each element. So let's list it out. For iron on the left hand side, we have 1. Oxygen on the left hand side, we have 2. And for iron on the right hand side, we have 2. Oxygen on the right hand side, we have 3. So guys, we have to balance it. How do we balance it? By adding coefficients to one element at the same time. That's the third step, if you can remember. So guys, let's add 2 iron here. Let's add 2 iron here. If we add 2 iron here, we now have 2 iron on the left hand side and 2 iron on the right hand side. So iron is balanced. So we want to balance oxygen. So let's add, we have 3 oxygen here. So let's add 3 oxygen here. So by adding 3 oxygen here, we now have 6 oxygen here at the left hand side, and we have 3 oxygen on the right hand side. How do we now balance oxygen? We balance oxygen by adding 2 at the back of iron here. So if we have 2 at the back of iron here, 2 multiplied by this 3 subscript here, it will give us 6 oxygen. So we now have 6 oxygen on the right hand side and 6 oxygen on the left hand side. You can see 3 multiplied by 2 here will give us 6. 6 oxygen on the left hand side. So let's check iron. As you can see, by adding 2 here, iron on the right hand side now have 4 atoms, and iron on the left hand side now have 2. To make iron on the left hand side 4, we multiply the 2 here earlier by 2. Multiplying it by 2, we have 4 iron. So let's write it out. We now have 4 iron plus 3 plus 6 oxygen give us 4 iron, 6 oxygen. As you can see, guys, it is balanced. It is what? Balanced. So let's check for this next one. What to do next is write out the unbalanced equation. After that, list out the atom of each element on both sides. Let's check. On the left hand side, we have 1 sodium, we have 2 hydrogen, we have 1 oxygen. On the right hand side, we have 1 sodium, Na represents sodium, and for oxygen we have 1, and for hydrogen we have 3. How? 1 hydrogen here and 2 hydrogen here, so that making 3. Let's multiply NaOH by 2. If we multiply NaOH by 2, we will be able to get our hydrogen. So we can now have 4 hydrogen here, and we will now multiply 2 by the hydrogen here for hydrogen to be balanced. But remember, don't let's do it like that. For you guys to understand better, I said earlier that we should balance hydrogen and oxygen last. So let's start from balancing sodium. Sodium here is balanced, but let's multiply sodium here by 2. So we now have 2 sodium here. Let's also multiply sodium here by 2. We now have 2 sodium here and we have 2 sodium here. Let's see any changes. We now have 2 oxygen, 4 hydrogen. By multiplying sodium that is here by 2, we now have 2 oxygen, 2 hydrogen plus the hydrogen here give us 4 hydrogen. So we have 4 hydrogen at the right hand side and we have 2 hydrogen on the left hand side, because remember, balance add coefficient on one element at a time, not 2 elements. So we are dealing with hydrogen now. We now have 4 hydrogen here, we have 2 hydrogen here. To make hydrogen that is here 4, let's multiply by 2. So let's put 2 here. So we now have 4 hydrogen here, 4 hydrogen here. So hydrogen is balanced. So let's check for sodium. 2 sodium here, 2 sodium here. Sodium is balanced. What is left, guys? We have oxygen left. And if you check, 2 oxygen here, 2 oxygen here, oxygen is also balanced. So let's write it out. So we have 2Na plus 2H2O gives us 2NaOH plus H2, balanced. This equation is balanced. To know the equation that is balanced, you check for the number of atoms on both sides, whether both number of atoms are equal. If it is not equal, it is unbalanced. So let's check for the next equation to be balanced. As you can see, this is a bit complex to the one we've been doing earlier, but it is also simple. By using the steps I explained to you earlier, we've written out our unbalanced equation. So let's list out the number of atoms on both sides. So for carbon here we have 3 on the left hand side. For hydrogen we have 8, and for oxygen we have 2. For the right hand side we have 1 carbon, we have 2 oxygen. No, we can't write only this one. 1 oxygen is also here, making 3 oxygen, and we have 2 hydrogen. So if we check, all the elements here are unbalanced. Let's multiply carbon here by 3. The carbon on the right hand side by 3. So by multiplying by 3, we now have 3 carbon on the right hand side, and we have 3 carbon on the left hand side. What next? By adding 3 carbon on the right hand side, what changed? Oxygen. Oxygen is 3 here before, but is now 7. How is it 7? 3 here multiplied by the 2 give us 6 oxygen here, and other 1 oxygen here, making 7. 6 plus 1 is 7. So what do we do next now? So let's multiply this by 4 for our oxygen to be balanced, for it to be 10. So because if we leave it at 7, it will be difficult to balance on the right and on the left hand side. So let's multiply this by 4 so it can be balanced. So we now have 6 oxygen here and 4 oxygen here. So 6 plus 4 is 10. So we now have 10 oxygen on the right hand side, but we have 2 oxygen on the left hand side. If you notice me and you are very attentive, you will realize that I'm explaining it and balancing it one element after the other. So since we have 10 oxygen here, let's check our left hand side. We have 2. To make it 10, we multiply by 5. So we now have 10 oxygen here. We have 10 oxygen here at the left hand side, and we have 10 oxygen at the right hand side. I think the equation is balanced. Let's check for hydrogen. For left hand side, hydrogen is 8, and for right hand side, we have 8 hydrogen. 4 that we used here plus multiply by this to give us 8. So let's write it out. We have C3H8. Who know the name of this compound? If you know the name of this compound, drop it in the comment section. The name of this compound, I won't say it. Just drop the name of this compound in the comment section. So we now have plus 5O2 to give us 3CO2 plus 4H2O. Balance. What is balance? So guys, let's check number 4. No. I'm not attempting this. You guys should attempt it. I've explained the definition of chemical equation, explain what balancing means, and I've given you guys steps on how to balance the chemical equation, which I used for these 3 examples, and I have used for one chemical equation earlier, which for those following you should be able to remember. So I've explained question 1, 2, and 3 using these steps. So you'll be able to use these steps to answer this, to balance this chemical equation. You'll be able to use these steps to balance this chemical equation, because practice makes perfect. If I explain this to you guys, I'm just explaining, but you doing this will make you to be very perfect in balancing equation. So now that I have got the formula to balance any chemical equation confidently, so make sure you drop the answer to this question in the comment section. I'll make sure I mark it whether you are correct or wrong. Make sure you drop it in the comment section. If this video helped you, please like, share and subscribe, and make sure to check the comment section if you are interested in joining my tutorial. Check the comment section to join the tutorial. So guys, see you in the next one.